This right here and right now is League Unlocked. That is Mark. My name is Eric, and it is time for the LEC Power Rankings, which have been a lot more difficult, maybe not more difficult, but more interesting to do than the LCS ones because it's packed in the middle, really the top middle, but it's because the teams are good. Everyone is putting up good performances from week to week. It's not who had a better bad week. It's who beat who that are actually competitors. EU is fun.
It's an easy equation for a lot of people. If I gave you a bunch of bad candy and I said to rank all the bad ones from best to worst, that's not very fun. But if I give you all good candies and I say rank them best to worst, you're thinking, okay, this is easy, no problem. Everything's good here. And that's how you feel watching the LEC, at least towards the top. Yes, certain little minor fixes you'd like to make here, but the quality absolutely here in the LEC so far.
So the LCS is candy corn. It's just ranking 10 different types of candy corn. No, it's 9.
Expired candy corn.
It's 9 candy corns and then...
one lint-covered black licorice.
Yeah. Oh, is that what Cloud9 is, or is that CLG? LEC Power Rankings. There's changes at the bottom because Vitality is off the schneid. They got a win. It was against SK, and even before they had a win, we were talking maybe these guys are actually better than SK Gaming. So is Schalke. And after week 5, I think we can confidently say that SK has been incredibly, maybe not underwhelming, almost what you expected them to be coming into this year. But Vitality and Schalke both have looked much better over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, for SK, I really was hoping to see more from guys like Sakura in the top lane, things like that. So far, all you've really seen as far as good performances here on the side of SK is probably Crown Shot down in the bottom side. And
Trick had 2 good games. Or 2 wins. I'll give him that.
We can allow for that here. But when you're talking about the team that is ahead of them now in the power rankings at 9, it is Vitality here picking up the win against them. And look, what I really liked about this win here and moving forward from what a lot of the Vitality members were talking about here is getting a little bit of confidence here for themselves, right? Getting that one victory on the board here means a lot for them in resetting their mental. This is still a young squad here. A lot of guys at the beginning of their professional careers at a stage this high. This is important to build upon things like this with the confidence and give them that type of boost. And so far, hey, you're not last anymore, Vitality. You're number 9.
I'm happy to see Steel back. Please keep him in the lineup going forward over Jack Troll. He's got the French connection that you know that this roster needs, and we're still waiting on Melitza actually starting in the mid lane. I'm starting to think that's not going to be rolling around until summer, but either way, Vitality definitely still looking like a squad that can compete at the very least with some of these other squads. Same goes for Schalke, but that's still the bottom 3, a clear gap between the other 7 squads. And even XL is it's on the outside looking in just because the other 6 teams look pretty damn good.
Yeah, the 6 teams is absolute peak level here in the LEC. When you're talking about Excel at number 7, yes, we have seen impressive things. We have seen Mickey deliver a very solid split here that a lot of people maybe doubted the type of consistency that we would get from him in those level of play. We have seen a very high level of play from him, and XL find themselves in kind of a little pocket here before these 6 top teams in the LEC.
And they're still just 1 game behind Rogue and Mad Lions for one of those final playoff spots, but Rogue has definitely looked better. They've had more statement wins, more dominant wins, and I think overall most people would agree that they have the talent level as well. Mad Lions are staying put in that top 5. They get a win against G2 and absolutely deserve to be talked about in that top 5 because, I mean, you beat Fnatic in G2. You could argue they should be a little bit higher, but there's some games where they don't quite meet the level that they showcase against some of these other top squads.
Right. The big one here is whether is Humanoid and Karzi showing up here, and do they have the gold and the damage here to back it up for this squad? That is always a big thing here in this G2 game. Initially, they weren't. They were going to be too far behind in the way that G2 was sitting around the map. G2 overextends, and absolutely perfectly, Mad Lions are there to counter and capitalize here. They get that gold here onto the Kalista, have Humanoid have that, pop-off kill potential on the LeBlanc here, and they utilized it perfectly against G2. And again, the impressive thing was how they closed out against this G2 squad. Not only were they able to get back into the game here, carve out their own advantages, but they were able to close things out against the best here in the LEC before this week.
And Humanoid seemed to almost flip a switch because earlier in the game, there was a lot of question mark pings going around, and he is probably been the most inconsistent member of this team filled with rookies. He's supposed to be the veteran calming presence. Hasn't necessarily been the case, but they've still jumped out to that 6-4 start and fully cement themselves as a playoff squad. The top 4 is where it gets absolutely insane with 4 7-3 squads. Origin, they had SK, which was their only win in week 5, and you're still somewhat questioning, are they playing the right play style for this meta, because they are a little bit slower. I mean, you look at the LCS and a lot of teams are playing that way, but not the same in EU, which is why Misfits are still a spot ahead of them, even though that win streak was snapped at the hands of Rogue. I feel like the upside right now still seems to be higher for Misfits than Origin.
And just for me right now, when you're looking at the way that both of these squads are playing, I like the advantage that you're going to get with Misfits through the top trio on their side here compared to the ones for Origin. I feel right now for Misfits, that top trio is having great synergy amongst themselves, right? The jungler, Rizork working with Dan in the top lane, working with Febin in the mid lane. A lot of good things are going around those 3 here on the Misfits roster. And you even have at times here where B-Boy is popping off here in the bottom side. Really positive for Misfits.
And for the first time in a long time, G2 is not in the top spot. The combination of dropping that game to Mad Lions, which I realized Fnatic did very recently as well. But Fnatic had actually one of the more difficult schedules of the week, going up against Rogue and Origin. And you know what? They rolled through both those matches. Those were really never in doubt. Fnatic was in control the entire time. So that dominant 2-0 by them against playoff teams, combined with G2 dropping a tough loss to Mad Lions, puts Fnatic in that top spot.
I'm glad that you said that Fnatic was here because of all these things, because look at what they've done here, the compositions that they're picking, the way that they're executing on these compositions. They have to be, right now, as of this week, their #1 team in the LEC, even having all those ties towards at the very top. You got to be considering them the best here. How many teams are going to be breaking out the Zac top lane here? Whippo getting that let's bounce rolling on through and disrupting everything here. Pairing it up, of course, you got Nemesis as the best Ornn in the LEC, and all we know is that Ornn is super busted, and that means that Fnatic is the most busted top-level strength team here in the LEC, sitting atop at #1.
And the synergy between Whippo and Selfmade has been fantastic so far in spring. Really didn't take much time to develop, and we thought it would work pretty well because whether there's wards or not, you know, Whippo is pushing that top lane and being super aggressive, even if it's on something like a Zac. So good to see that synergy. Reckless, I think, with Perks back in mid, has taken over again as the best AD carry in EU. Fnatic looking fantastic heading into week 6 in Europe.